Less than 18 months after unveiling it, OpenAI has cancelled one of its flagship products. So is this a one-off or indicative of more cancellations yet to come? Sora, the AI video generator that they spent years building, that they launched with massive fanfare, and that was the centre point of a signed billion-dollar Disney deal, is gone. Not paused, not delayed, shut down. And despite the optics with other photo or video generation models, this was not a principled stand. It was a money problem, and a competition problem, and a safety decision, or a risk management decision at least, and a bit of an embarrassment problem. So let's get into it. A quick recap first. Sora launched publicly in December 2024. OpenAI unveiled it to much fanfare, positioning it as a major push into creative tools and social media. You typed a prompt, a horse race with ducks, and it generated a video. The demos were impressive, but the demos were also very carefully curated. Behind the scenes, the models struggled with longer clips, with objects changing shape or defying physics, and scenes drifting into the uncanny valley. When OpenAI released a second-generation Sora model in September 2025 with audio capabilities and more accurate physics, it also launched a standalone app, simply called Sora, which became the most downloaded app in the iOS App Store's photo and video category within a day of release. And users immediately started pushing it in directions that OpenAI probably didn't want. Many created lifelike videos of popular characters like Lara Croft, Pikachu and Mickey Mouse, raising alarm bells from copyright and deepfake experts. The hype was real, but so were the problems. Let's talk about money, because this is really what this story is about. Sora was a free-to-use B2C offering, and as with the rest of the OpenAI umbrella, paying a fee would get you more uses per day or use of the better model, but it was not itself obviously income generating. After a splashy launch, Sora's worldwide user count peaked at around 1 million, and then gradually fell back to fewer than 500,000. Meanwhile, the app was burning through a reported $1 million every day, not because people loved it, but because video generation is so costly to run. $1 million a day to serve fewer than 500,000 users. And that's before we even zoom out to OpenAI's broader financial picture. The company anticipated making losses of roughly $9 billion in 2025, based on $30 billion in sales, an after-tax loss margin of approximately 70%. To put this another way, OpenAI expected to spend approximately $1.70 for every dollar of revenue that it generated. That's not sustainable, and it's a part of why OpenAI needs so many equity injections. We've not yet seen the full 2025 numbers, but it's worth remembering two things. One, OpenAI has in the past been optimistic about its profitability, in that its losses often come in at more than they predicted. And number two, Sora was significantly worse than the average OpenAI project, both with higher costs and lower revenue. OpenAI reported a loss of $5 billion in 2024 on $3.7 billion in revenue. The company itself projects to lose a cumulative $44 billion before reaching profitability, which they don't expect until 2029. In the last 14 months, it's issued new capital of more than $150 billion. So when you're burning $1 million a day on a product that 500,000 people are barely using, while accruing billions in losses across the whole company, then something has to give. Sora was the low-hanging fruit to cancel, but there were complications in ceasing to operate. In December 24, Disney announced a 3-year licensing agreement with OpenAI, under which Sora could generate videos featuring more than 200 masked, animated, or creature characters from Disney, Marvel, Pixar, and Star Wars. Disney also planned to take a $1 billion stake in OpenAI. That's $1 billion, one of the most valuable media companies on Earth, betting on Sora. And then OpenAI pulled the plug. And this part is genuinely extraordinary. It's one of the most significant exits that OpenAI has announced. Most of their recent pullbacks are lowering investment into announced projects or cancelling future projects. But this was a signed deal on an active project that generated not revenue but investment for OpenAI that had been reneged on. According to TechCrunch, Disney found out that Sora was being shut down less than an hour before the public announcement. Less than an hour's notice on a $1 billion deal with the House of Mouse itself. Disney ended its partnership with OpenAI and said it will continue to engage with AI platforms to find new ways to meet fans where they are. That's corporate speak for, we're furious, but we're going to be polite about it for now. So why did Sam Altman actually make the call? As reported in TechCrunch, while a sizable OpenAI team inside was busy working on the B2C boondoggles like Sora, Anthropic was steadily winning over the business users that drive revenue. Claude Code, in particular, was significantly outperforming OpenAI's offering. So Altman made the call: kill Sora, free up compute, refocus engineer time. And this is the part that OpenAI's press releases don't say out loud. OpenAI isn't just in a financial crisis, it's in a competitive crisis. Anthropic's costs are growing at a pace more in line with revenue, and the company is fully focused on increasing sales among corporate customers, which account for 80% of its revenue. While OpenAI was chasing viral video clips and Hollywood partnerships, Anthropic was quietly signing these enterprise deals, and that's apparent to industry analysts. OpenAI is now diverting efforts from disparate consumer products and toward products that are more geared towards business clients. Sora was a free-to-use consumer product, a flashy one, but besides Disney's billion-dollar investment, it wasn't making money. It was costing a fortune, and the company needed the computing time and resource for things that actually drive revenue: coding tools, reasoning models, and enterprise services. Video generation was a flashy bet with no road to profitability, so it got cut. The safety aspect was not mentioned by OpenAI, but it will have been a part of their decision. AI-generated video isn't just expensive, it's dangerous, and the industry has already shown us what happens when you release these tools without adequate safeguards. It's time to talk about Grok. Elon Musk's AI chatbot, part of xAI, integrated with X, rolled out image generation and editing in December 2025, and within days it was a global scandal. Users began requesting that Grok undress photos of women, replacing clothing with bikinis or transparent garments, and posting the results publicly on X. Initially, this was self-generated content by models for publicity purposes, but within hours it was co-opted by bad actors for non-consensual pictures. A separate analysis calculated that users had Grok create 6,700 sexually suggestive or nudified images per hour. That's 84 times more than the top 5 deepfake websites combined. It wasn't a new problem, but it immediately mainstreamed an existing one by making these tools more available, easier to use, and with no barrier to entry or repercussions for users. Grok generated over 4.4 million images over 9 days, and 1.8 million of those were sexualized depictions of women. And it didn't stop there. An analysis of 800 pieces of recovered content found that nearly 10% were instances of photorealistic people, some very young, doing sexual activities. This wasn't a bug. From the very beginning, Grok was structurally designed to operate with fewer safeguards than other AI assistants. Those capabilities had always been present in the system, and prior warnings were ignored. The global response was swift. Malaysia and Indonesia became the first countries to block Grok entirely after authorities said it was being misused to generate sexually explicit and non-consensual images. The EU, UK, France, India, and Canada all launched investigations. In the UK, the creation of sexually explicit deepfakes without consent had been criminalised under the Data Use and Access Act 2025. After the Grok scandal, the provision was brought into force. But what does this have to do with Sora? The short answer is a lot. Sora doesn't just generate images, it generates video. Realistic, high-fidelity video of real-seeming people doing real-seeming things. The potential for non-consensual deepfakes, fake political footage, fabricated evidence, it's not theoretical. Grok has already showed us what happens when these tools are released carelessly. And experts note that when these images, and by extension, videos, are created and spread, the people depicted don't necessarily find out. The harm occurs the moment that the content is created. And even if Sora had better guardrails than Grok did, people would try and jailbreak or prompt hack the system. It only takes one image or video to become a scandal and a financial risk. OpenAI saw what happened to Grok, and while Sora's shutdown was talked about as a financial decision, the safety element was likely an unspoken factor. From the perspective of a loss-making business, this was a high-risk proposition with no reward. OpenAI's official statement was carefully worded. The company said it was shuttering the standalone app to focus on other priorities, adding that Sora research team would continue to focus on world simulation research to advance robotics. That's an incredible corporate speak sentence. It says nothing substantial while indicating that their time, effort, and money wasn't wasted. and that this move toward industrial robotics rather than consumer video creation is actually part of the plan. And if you believe that, then I've got a data center to sell you. Sora, both the website and the app, will be discontinued on April 26th. The Sora API will be discontinued in September 2026. Users have been told to export their content before then. So, is AI video dead? No, not even close. There are other platforms, Runway, Kling, Google's Veo, that are still pushing forward. The race to AI video has not stopped. OpenAI has just withdrawn from this race. But what Sora's collapse does tell us is this. Flashy technology is not a product. User counts that drop by 50% and cost $1 million a day to maintain are not a business. And Hollywood partnerships announced with fanfare can evaporate in under an hour. The AI industry is full of products that are technologically impressive but economically incoherent. Sora was one of them, and it's maybe a rare occasion when OpenAI has been fully honest about how it can't compete on all fronts. The Grok disaster tells us something equally important. The harm from AI-generated media isn't coming, it's already here. 3 girls have already filed a class action lawsuit against XAI, alleging that Grok was used to generate child sexual abuse material from their photos. Musk's companies pledged to halt abusive deepfakes after a public backlash, and the behaviour continued despite the safeguards added on the fly. The question for whatever comes next in AI video isn't, can we build it? We know we can. The questions are, how does it generate revenue to be sustainable? And who pays for the damage when it goes wrong? Sora went from a "this changes everything" tool to a shutdown notice in under 18 months. Not because the technology was fake, but because the money didn't work, because the competition was winning, because the chips were needed elsewhere, and because the world got a preview, through Grok, of what AI-generated media can become when nobody is watching carefully enough. OpenAI burned through $1 million a day on a product that fewer than 500,000 people were using, while Anthropic was quietly winning the enterprise market that actually generates revenue. That's the real story here, not a cautionary tale about dangerous technology, a cautionary tale about hype, money, and what happens when a company builds something spectacular but then realises that it can't afford to run it. If you found this video useful, then please subscribe. This channel is looking to put out more news content to make sure that you can keep informed. Until next time, thank you very much.